Hello, my old friends. This is Ray Gelato here, and this is Gelato's Parlour, my brand new series of podcasts, which I hope you enjoy. And I get the feeling that some of you are enjoying because I've had some very, very nice feedback on iTunes and things like that. And if you do like it, please go on those places, especially iTunes, and leave a little rating or feedback because it's nice for me to get these out there. And I'm trying to make these podcasts interesting as possible and covering a wide range of subjects, you know, from things that happen in London to musicians' tales to things that have happened on tour, live gigs. And we're going to get some interesting people along on Gelato's Parlour to have a chat. I've got some nice people lined up and I'm very excited. And we're going to have a beautiful talk to these people and find out what they've got to say. I'm not going to give you their names yet, but we do have some names coming on the show, so we can't wait. Anyway, I thought today I would tell you about a story that happened to us, my band, the Ray Gelato Giants, on the road. And this was a number of years back. And it was quite a strange and amusing little tale that I thought I'd recount to you now. So anyway, here we go. We get booked, okay, to do an Italian television show. And it was called Red Ronnie, the Red Ronnie Show. So we get flown out there, you know, we get picked up at the airport, I think it was in Milan, and we get driven to the studio. Now, a very important start of this story was that the guy, one of the guys in the band at the time, and I don't want to use his full name, or his real name, in fact, because I don't want to cause any embarrassment. He's still a very dear friend of mine, but let's call him Bob Barnett for now, okay, Bob. So anyway, old Bob had a little fling with an Italian girl. Her name was Daniela. So Bob and Daniela had a little fling, very, very brief, and it hadn't turned out too well, and I'll tell you why. Basically, right, Bob had gone over to stay with Daniela for a couple of days, and she had got a little bit, shall I say, obsessed and a little bit kind of weird and creepy with him in the fact that when he came down one morning for breakfast, because she still lived with her mother and father, the family were there, the mum, dad, I think the brother and the sister, and what Bob understood from his limited grasp of Italian was, because I don't think Daniela spoke English or much English, but what I think Bob gleaned was that that Daniela had told her mum and dad and brother and sister that they were going to be married. And it's you know, very, very strange. And anyway, Bob got cold feet and kind of made his excuses eventually sometime during that day and got out of there, got out of that situation. So he said to me, look, Ray, when we go out to Milan, I'm not sure if I want to go because she might turn up. And I said, well, no, I doubt it. I said, this was, 6-7 months back. I said, it's all going to be all right, don't worry. Of course, I wanted him to come out and play with us. So anyway, let's get ahead of ourselves. We end up in this Italian TV studio in Milan for this guy called Red Ronnie, who had a very popular music TV show. They had music on there. They had Dancing Girls, Variety, all these kind of weird and wonderful things that you get on Italian television. Very colourful, let's say. Anyway, they had a computer in the middle of the studio with a lady operating the computer, and she would feed back to Red Ronnie what was going on. So people would email the show and say, oh, would you ask Ray to play a request, or would you ask someone to do something, or we love the show, or whatever. And it was, it was all by email or whatever. So Red Ronnie introduced us and says, ladies and gentlemen, the Ray Gelato and the Giants, and we kicked off. I don't know what we did. It might have been that. I think we played... You know what, my memory's quite good. I think we played the old Louis Prima thing. Josephina, please, no leaner on the bell. When you mush her, please, no push her on the bell. It's a real fun, silly song, but a real fun Italian-American kind of song. Anyway, we finished Josephina, Don't Lean on the Bell, and Red Ronnie bounded up to the stage with a manic look in his eyes, and he went right up to the band and he says, who is Bob Barnett? Who is Bob? And we, of course, didn't know. We thought he was going to introduce all the fellas in the band, you see. So we pointed at Bob and we went, it's him. It's him. Thinking he'd say after that, Ray Gelato, boom, 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 whoever else was in the band at the time. And so we pointed at Bob and he went right up to Bob's face and he went, he had an email in his hand, printed out, and he went, it's Daniela. Like that, right up to poor old Bob's face. So Bob recoiled. And I could swear, right, and the band have verified this since, that poor old Bob's head started to shrink slightly. He never had a big head to start with. He went, "It's Daniela." And Bob was dumbfounded. And he said, "Daniela wants to know why you not call her. Why? Like that." And poor old Bob, I've never seen anything like it. We were at that stage finding it humorous, but quite weird. And he says, "Why you not call her? Why?" And poor old Bob's, the voice cracked. He went, "Oh." You know, he says, Red Ronnie says, "When will you call her? When?" And Bob went, I will. And he, you know, we'd all be in the same position. We were very rattled. So anyway, he left it at that, or we thought that was the end of it. And he says, "Array Gelato Giants, we'll do another number." And we played another number. And I looked round, and poor Bob, he was absolutely rattled by this, completely rattled. His body language, he was playing, he always played great, but he wasn't there. You know, the lights were on, but no one was home at that point because he was so rattled by the fact that this Daniela had tracked him down and stalked him to the studio by email. So we finish off, right? We finished the number. Then Red Ronnie comes up again. He runs up to the stage, relishing and enjoying every single moment of poor old Bob's misery. And he went, "It's Daniela again. She wants to know, why is your skin as smooth as the coconut ram that you rubbed in her body?" And it was unbelievable. And he said before that, he went, "The Bob Barnett saga continues." And it was unbelievable. And he was really giving poor old Bob a hard time. And the fact that this girl had bothered to email the studio like that and kind of stalk him and all that business. And anyway, we played again, and he kept going up to him and said, "Oh, you speak Italian? Do you speak Italian?" to Bob, and he was right like an inch from his face, relishing every moment. And Bob sort of went, "No, si," and he went, "Now you speak Italian, And poor old Bob's head, I swore, I'm sure that his head, he was so upset, it looked like it was shrinking to the size of a tennis ball. And anyway, we finished the show, and I'm not sure what happened after that. I'm not sure if Bob met Daniela. I think he might have met her to keep the peace that evening. And in fact, yes, he did meet her. He made sure he called her and met her. And I think he was trying to get her off his trail, you know. But it was quite a scary kind of thing that happened. And this was in front of, you know, probably hundreds of thousands of people. With this Red Ronnie show had a big thing. And one point was when Red Ronnie was telling the story and haranguing Bob with this Daniela saga. The Bob Barnett saga continues. The whole band was screaming of laughter. By the time our shock had worn off, we were reveling in poor Bob's misery. And I was nearly on my knees. And the piano player at the time, he was a guy called Richard Bushikevich, who's a fantastic player. He was quiet. He wouldn't usually say boo to a goose, and he kept himself to himself. Very, very quiet character. He actually got up, roared round of laughter, holding his stomach, and did a full circle round the stage. And I've actually got the whole thing on VHS somewhere, you know. So anyway, that was the tale of Red Ronnie with the Ray Gelato Giants and Bob and Daniela. And man, it was unbelievable. It really was. We've told the story several times, and I'm really glad I've got the chance on this podcast to tell you about it. And there'll be plenty more of these on the road tales coming, and I'll also try to interview some people that have been involved in this. I might even get Bob on. We'll see. But continue listening, please, to Gelato's Parlour. I've really enjoyed doing it, and it's lovely to recount some of these stupid kind of stories. But anyway, until next time, you take good care of yourselves and keep well. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.